I was a mercenary before I ever learned how to be a high school student, so when people say high school is brutal, I get what they mean. Bad food, fake friends, rich kids with god complexes, girls whispering like you're a new product on display, guys trying to prove they have balls because a handsome transfer student walked into their classroom. Very scary stuff. Still, none of it compared to Russia. Russia was where my family's plane went down when I was 9. My parents died in the crash, and the men who found me did not send me home. They gave me to Directorate 9, a private military unit that looked at a half-dead kid in the snow and saw potential. Potential is a cute word adults use when they want to ruin your life professionally. They took my name. Adrian Keller disappeared. 0 was born. By 13, I knew how to strip a rifle blindfolded. By 15, I could clear a room faster than most grown men could find the safety on a gun. By 17, I had killed enough people that sleep started feeling like a luxury item. Then Misha died for me. He was my teammate, my only real friend, and the biggest idiot I ever knew. He stole food for me, taught me dirty jokes in Russian, and once punched an instructor for calling me a dog. The instructor broke 2 of his teeth. Misha spat blood on the floor and said, "Worth it." That was the kind of bastard he was. Our last mission was supposed to be simple. Those are always the ones that turn into complete crap. The radios died first. Then our extraction route became a kill box. One by one, my crew dropped in the snow until only Misha and I were still breathing. Barely. He had shrapnel in his side and blood on his chin. I tried to drag him out, but he grabbed my collar and pulled me close. Then he ripped the tag from my neck and shoved it into his own vest. I grabbed his wrist. "What the hell are you doing?" Misha smiled with blood on his teeth. "You always wanted a normal life," he said. "School, friends, stupid homework, food that doesn't taste like boiled socks." "Misha, shut up. From this second on, you're dead," he said. "Let them find me. Let them bury me as you." I tried to lift him again. He hit my chest with the last strength he had. "Don't waste this trying to be a hero. You're terrible at it." The fuel tanks behind us were already burning. Smoke covered the road. The gunfire was getting closer. Misha shoved me toward the trees. "Run straight ahead," he said. "Don't look back. Don't come back to this hell." I still reached for him. He gave me one last grin. "Live the normal life we never got, my friend." The explosion hit before I reached the tree line. Directorate 9 found a burned body wearing my tag and carrying my tracker. Their report marked 0 deceased. Major Reyes found me 3 weeks later, half-starved, half-frozen, and too angry to die properly. He helped me disappear. New passport, new school records, new apartment above a laundromat, new name, Aiden Walker, 17, transfer student, normal American high school senior. At least, that was the plan. Major Reyes dropped me off in Westbridge with 3 rules. "Don't fight," he said. "Don't stand out. And stop looking at people like you're deciding where to bury them." I told him I understood. I lied. Because 24 hours later, I walked into my first American classroom, smelled cheap body spray and cafeteria fries, and saw a quarterback slide his expensive white sneaker into the aisle to trip me. My body reacted before my fake name did. My right hand twitched toward his throat. My left foot shifted to break his knee. My eyes measured the desk, the window, the fire alarm, the nearest exit, and the idiot's exposed pulse. All of that happened in less than a second. That was the problem with being raised as a weapon. You don't see a prank, you see angles. I stopped right before his shoe touched my ankle. The quarterback looked up at me with that stupid half-smile guys use when their friends are watching. He said, loud enough for the class, "You lost, pretty boy?" The girls stopped whispering. The guys leaned forward. The teacher, Mrs. Harlow, looked over from her desk. "Aiden? Everything okay?" "Aiden. Right, that was me now. Normal student, harmless transfer kid. Definitely not the dead mercenary some Russian bastards had already buried." I gave the quarterback a polite smile. Polite smiles still feel wrong on my face, like wearing someone else's skin for a school photo. "Sorry," I said. "Thought I dropped something." He snorted. His friends laughed. In his tiny brain, that meant I backed down. Fine, let him keep that tiny victory. Some people need charity before disaster. Beside me, a skinny guy with nervous eyes leaned over and whispered, "Don't mind Bryce, he's always like that." I turned toward him. He flinched a little. People do that when they realize your eyes arrived before your face did. He swallowed and tried again. "I'm Noah Finch. Welcome to Westbridge High." "Thanks," I said. Noah pointed his pencil at the quarterback. "Bryce Voss. Football royalty. Daddy's rich, mom's scary, sister's worse. If he messes with you, just laugh it off." "Does laughing help?" "No," Noah said, "but it makes you look less scared." That was the first useful survival tip anyone gave me in America. The day dragged on. Bells rang like warning alarms. Students moved through hallways in packs. Everybody stared too long. The girls whispered about my face like I had personally applied for public review. The guys looked at me like I had walked into their territory and pissed on the mascot. High school was basically a jungle with better lighting. During lunch, a girl stopped beside my table with a tray hugged to her chest. She had brown hair tied back with a blue ribbon and tired eyes that didn't belong on someone our age. She looked at me, then at the empty seat across from me, then back at me like she expected me to throw something. "Mrs. Harlow asked me to show you around after school," she said. "I'm Lily Parker." Her voice was gentle, but her fingers were tight around the tray. I nodded. "Aiden, I know, everyone knows, you're the transfer guy. Is that bad?" "Depends who notices first." Before I could ask what that meant, someone bumped Lily from behind. Milk splashed over her tray. A few girls laughed from the next table. At the center of them sat a blonde girl with perfect makeup, expensive nails, and a smile that looked practiced in mirrors. Madison Voss. I didn't know her name yet, but I knew the type. Every camp had one. Someone who learned early that fear could pass for respect if you dressed it up pretty. Madison tilted her head and said, "Oops, careful Lily, you're always so clumsy." Lily lowered her eyes. She didn't get angry or argue. She just gave a small nod, like she had rehearsed being humiliated. Something cold moved under my ribs. I had seen men beg before dying. I had seen soldiers freeze under gunfire. But there is a special kind of ugly in watching someone accept cruelty because fighting back has already failed too many times. Lily whispered, "It's fine." Madison smiled wider, and for the first time that day, I wondered if Misha had died for a normal life that didn't exist. The bell rang. The cafeteria moved on. I didn't. I watched Lily wipe milk off her tray with a napkin while Madison's friends laughed into their phones. My hand closed around the plastic fork on my tray. It snapped in half. So, yeah, first day of school was going great. After school, Lily waited near the front doors with her backpack pressed against her chest like armor. I should have understood that immediately. She gave me a quick smile when she saw me. "Ready for the tour? Do I need one? You got lost going from English to the cafeteria. I was studying the building. You were standing outside the girls' bathroom. Bad intelligence." She laughed once before she could stop herself. Then she looked around, as if laughing in public might get her fined by the queen of petty cruelty. We walked through the school. She showed me the library, the gym, the counselor's office, the parking lot, and the cafeteria exit everyone used when teachers weren't looking. She spoke softly, but when she explained things, she relaxed a little. Her grandfather worked nights as one of the school security guards and days as the super for our apartment building. That was how she knew I had moved into the tiny unit on the third floor above the laundromat. "Grandpa said you're quiet," she told me. "I get that a lot." He also said, "You don't own a microwave." I thought the apartment came with one. It did. You put canned soup in it without opening the can. I stopped walking. Lily pressed her lips together, trying not to smile. "It made a sound," I said. "It exploded. Same family of events." That time she really laughed. It was small, but it changed her face. For a second, she looked like a normal girl walking with a normal guy after a normal school day. We reached the back parking lot. Madison Voss was leaning against a black SUV with two girls beside her and Bryce nearby tossing a football with his friends. Her eyes landed on Lily first. Then, they moved to me. And just like that, Lily's shoulders tightened. Madison pushed off the SUV. "Look at that! Lily got herself a guard dog." Lily stepped half a foot behind me. I hated that I noticed. One of Madison's friends, a red-haired girl with a laugh like broken glass, looked me up and down. "He's cute. Weird, but cute." Bryce caught the football and walked over with two guys behind him. Big arms. Bigger egos. The kind of boys who thought a gym membership counted as combat training. Bryce pointed the ball at me. "You following her around now?" I asked Lily. "Are they your friends?" Lily's mouth opened, then closed. Madison laughed. "That's adorable. She doesn't have friends." The redhead stepped close to Lily and flicked the blue ribbon in her hair. "She has chores. That's different," Lily whispered. "Please don't." That whisper bothered me more than a scream would have. Bryce moved in front of me. "You deaf transfer? I asked you a question." "No," I said. "No what?" "No, I'm not following her. Mrs. Harlow asked her to show me around." Bryce smirked like I had handed him a gift. "Aw, teacher's little helper? That's cute." Madison's smile sharpened. "Lily loves helping people. She even helped me with my chem project last month." Lily stared at the ground. I knew what that meant. Madison had taken her work and called it help. Bryce stepped closer until his chest almost touched mine. "Here's another little lesson. At this school, you don't get involved in Voss business." His shoulders, knees, and hands told me enough. Weak stance. Too close. Empty hands. Overconfident. Director at 9 would have failed him before breakfast. Misha's voice cut through my skull. "Run straight ahead. Don't turn around." I exhaled and stepped back. Bryce grinned. Smart. He reached past me and shoved Lily's backpack out of her arms. It hit the pavement, her books spilled across an oil stain. Everybody laughed. The laughter started small, just enough for Lily to know the whole parking lot had seen it and chosen comfort over spine. She crouched down fast, face burning. My hand moved before my brain voted. I grabbed Bryce's wrist. He froze. So did the parking lot. I kept the twist short of permanent, just enough pressure to introduce his nerves to regret. Bryce's knees dipped. What the hell? He hissed. I leaned close. Pick it up. His friends stopped laughing. Madison's eyes widened, then narrowed. She was not scared yet, just offended. Rich kids always mistake consequences for disrespect. Bryce tried to yank his hand back. Bad idea. Pain shot through his arm, and he made a sound he probably didn't want his teammates hearing. Pick up her books, I said. Lily looked up at me, terrified. Aiden, it's okay. It wasn't okay. Exactly why my self-control started cracking. Bryce swung his free fist at my face. I let go of his wrist, slipped outside the punch, and tapped 2 knuckles under his ribs. A warning pretending to be a punch. He dropped to one knee, coughing like his lungs had filed a complaint. The red-haired girl screamed. One of Bryce's friends charged me from the side. I caught his jacket, used his own weight, and sent him shoulder first into the SUV. The alarm chirped once, pathetic and late. The second friend stopped so fast his sneakers squeaked. Good choice. Personal growth. Bryce forced himself up, red-faced and shaking. You psycho bastard! My eyes dropped to Lily's books. Bryce followed my gaze. His pride fought for a second. Pride lost. Bryce bent down and grabbed one book with his left hand. The parking lot went quiet enough for me to hear Madison breathing. He put the rest back one by one, each book landing heavier than the last. Lily looked like she wanted to vanish. I hated that too. When it was done, I let Bryce stand. He backed away, holding his side, eyes full of murder he had no idea how to deliver. Madison walked up to him, grabbed his arm, and whispered something I couldn't hear. I didn't need to. Her face said enough. This wasn't over. Lily pulled her backpack against her chest again. You shouldn't have done that. I know. They'll come after you. They already tried. No, you don't understand. Her voice shook. Bryce isn't the worst one. That got my attention. Across the parking lot, Madison lifted her phone and typed with both thumbs. She looked up at me once while the message sent. Her smile came back. That was when I knew she had invited someone bigger. The next morning, I learned Bryce Voss was only the appetizer. His older brother was the full meal of stupid. Tyler Voss was a senior, football captain, local celebrity, scholarship machine, and apparently the unofficial mayor of Westbridge High's testosterone problem. He walked into my history class with 4 players behind him and a Letterman jacket over one shoulder like he expected the school band to start playing. Everyone went quiet. Even the teacher stopped writing on the board. People make room for power before it speaks. Tyler looked around the classroom until he found me by the window. He smiled. Bigger idiot, confirmed. Mrs. Harlow stepped forward. Tyler, you need a pass to be here. Tyler didn't look at her. Relax, I'm just welcoming the new kid. Behind him, Bryce stood with one arm tucked against his side. He had traded yesterday's smirk for a face that said he had spent the night discovering painkillers. Noah sat beside me, pale as paper. He whispered, Dude, that's Tyler, I guessed. No, like, Tyler, that explains everything. Noah stared like I had just insulted gravity. Tyler walked down the aisle, his friends spread out behind him. A few students lifted phones under their desks. Smart. Teenagers might not help you, but they will record your downfall in high definition. Tyler stopped beside my desk and leaned over me. You hurt my brother. He swung first. Tyler laughed softly. That's not how this works. Then your system needs maintenance. A couple of students made choking sounds trying not to laugh. Tyler's smile thinned. He put one hand on my desk and lowered his voice. You new here, so I'm going to explain this once. My family built half the football complex. My dad sits on the school board. My mom funds the arts program. If I say you started something, everyone hears you started it. There it was. The American version of a gun to the head. The threat came dressed as money in a varsity jacket. His hand stayed on my desk. Thick fingers, strong wrist, easy break, don't fight. I raised my eyes to his face. Move your hand. The room held its breath. Tyler's friends grinned like this was the fun part. The classroom door opened again. Lily stumbled in. Her hair ribbon was gone. Her cheek was red. Dirt marked the side of her sweater. She tried to smooth it down with shaking hands, but everyone had already seen. I stood up. The chair scraped behind me. Tyler looked over his shoulder and laughed. Wow, Madison works fast. That line dropped the temperature in the room. Lily's eyes met mine, then dropped. She whispered, I'm sorry, sorry. That word hit worse than Tyler's threat. She had been attacked, humiliated, dragged into my problem, and the first thing she did was apologize to me. Something inside my chest went quiet, the kind of quiet that arrives right before damage. Tyler turned back to me. See? This is what happens when people don't know their place. I moved before Mrs. Harlow could shout. Tyler's first friend reached for my shoulder. I caught his wrist, stepped inside his reach, and drove my palm into his chest. He flew backward into a desk, books scattered, the desk legs screamed against the floor. The second friend swung wide. I ducked under it and hit his thigh with the edge of my shoe. His leg folded wrong, not broken, just deeply offended. He dropped, yelling. Bryce backed up so fast he hit the wall. Smart boy. Late, but smart. Tyler's third friend grabbed a chair. I kicked the chair into his stomach and used the backrest to pin him against the board. He slid down with chalk dust on his jacket and panic all over his face. Mrs. Harlow shouted my name. I heard her. I didn't stop. Tyler finally moved. He was strong, faster than the others. He threw a clean punch toward my jaw. If he had trained with someone serious, he might have been annoying. I caught his wrist, stepped around him, and drove my knee into his stomach. Air left him in a hard grunt. Before he could fall, I twisted his arm behind his back and pushed him face first onto my desk. His cheek hit the fake wood with a satisfying crack. Phones came up everywhere. I leaned close to his ear. You touched her because of me? Tyler's breath came ragged. You're dead. People keep saying that. My voice sounded too flat. That scared me. Lily ran forward and grabbed my sleeve. Aiden, stop! Her hand was small, shaking, still holding on. For a second, the classroom disappeared, and I saw Misha's bloody fingers gripping my collar in the snow. Run straight ahead. Don't come back to this hell. I let Tyler go. He collapsed beside the desk, coughing and clutching his arm. Lily pulled me back like she thought I might kill him if she let go. She wasn't completely wrong. The room stayed dead silent. Noah stared at me with his mouth open. Bryce looked like he wanted to quit the sport of existing. Tyler's friends were on the floor making the kind of noises tough guys make when their confidence abandons them. Mrs. Harlow reached for the phone on her desk. Office, she said, voice shaking. Now! I nodded. Tyler laughed from the floor. It was ugly and breathless. You don't know what you just did, he said. Tyler wiped blood from his lip and smiled through it. My dad's going to bury you. That was when I understood the shape of the problem. Bryce was a dog. Tyler was a bigger dog. Madison held the leash. But somewhere behind all three of them, there was an owner who thought he could buy a grave. The principal's office smelled like coffee, printer toner, and adults pretending the word policy could stop a fist. Principal Whitaker sat behind his desk with both hands folded. Beside him stood Coach Daniels, who looked at Tyler's swollen face like someone had vandalized school property. Which, to be fair, Tyler probably considered himself. Lily sat in the chair beside me, holding an ice pack to her cheek. I had asked her twice who hit her. She said she fell. The second time, she couldn't look at me. Principal Whitaker cleared his throat. Aiden, do you understand how serious this is? Yes, you assaulted multiple students. They came into class to threaten me. Coach Daniels slapped a hand on the desk. Watch your tone. My gaze settled on his hand. He removed it. Good reflex. Whitaker sighed. There are witnesses saying Tyler and the others entered without permission. There are also videos. Coach Daniels' jaw tightened. He did not like the word videos. People with private versions of the truth hate cameras. The door opened before anyone could continue. A woman walked in wearing a white coat, designer heels, and the kind of perfume that announces a lawsuit before the person does. Mrs. Voss. Behind her came Mr. Voss, broad-shouldered, gray-haired, and quiet. He had a calm face, the kind that could mean reasonable or dangerous. With rich people, those overlap too often. Madison entered last. She wore a soft pink sweater and held her phone in both hands. Her eyes went straight to Lily's cheek. A tiny smile touched Madison's mouth. I saw it. Lily saw it too. Her fingers tightened around the ice pack. Mrs. Voss rushed to Tyler, who had been brought in from the nurse's office and now sat on the other side of the room with Bryce. She touched his bruised face and gasped like she had discovered war. My God, look at what he did to my son! Tyler leaned into the performance. Bryce stared at the floor. Mr. Voss looked at me for a long moment, then at Lily. He didn't speak. Mrs. Voss turned on the principal. I want him expelled today, and I want police involved. Whitaker adjusted his glasses. Mrs. Voss, there are circumstances. Circumstances, she pointed at me. That boy is violent. He came from nowhere, no family, no background anyone can explain, and now my sons are injured. There it was again, no family. People love using that phrase when you don't have one. It makes you sound less like a person and more like loose trash on the road. Lily sat up. They were threatening him. Madison's eyes snapped to her. Lily shrank back, but she didn't take it back. That mattered. Mrs. Voss gave Lily a sweet poisoned smile. Honey, I know you've had a difficult time socially, but lying won't help you. Lily's face went pale. I knew that tone. Soft voice, sharp knife. Madison stepped forward. Mom, don't be too hard on her. Lily gets confused when she's upset. I almost laughed. The girl who had probably ordered Lily's cheek rearranged was now acting like a charity volunteer. Impressive. Disgusting, but impressive. Whitaker started reviewing the videos from the classroom. The clips showed Tyler's crew entering, Tyler threatening me, Lily arriving hurt, and then me turning several football players into floor decorations. The footage made the office uncomfortable, me included. I moved too fast, too clean, too much like Zero. Mrs. Voss tried to refrain it immediately. You see, he was waiting for an excuse. My son walked in to talk, and that animal attacked. Animal. That word brought back cold rooms, metal tables, instructors shouting numbers instead of names. I felt my nails press into my palm. Lily noticed and touched my sleeve under the desk. Once, a warning, a mercy. Mr. Voss finally spoke. What happened to the girl's face? The room shifted. Mrs. Voss looked annoyed. Madison's smile flickered. Lily said quickly, I fell. Mr. Voss studied her. Where? He asked. Lily swallowed. Behind the gym. Madison's phone buzzed. She glanced down and tucked it away too fast. I saw the screen for half a second. A message from someone saved as, T done? Madison slid the phone into her pocket. My eyes went back to Lily's cheek. Done. That word sat in my head like a loaded gun. In the end, Principal Whitaker suspended Tyler and his friends pending investigation. He didn't expel me. He didn't call police. Too many videos. Too many witnesses. Too many ways the Voss family could look bad if everyone started asking why a senior football captain brought a crew into a classroom. Mrs. Voss left furious. Madison left smiling. That smile bothered me more than the fury. After school, Lily refused to let me walk her home. I'll be fine, she said outside the office. You said that earlier. Her eyes flashed with shame. I don't need you fixing everything. I didn't say you did. You don't understand. When you fight them, they don't stop. They just find a place where adults aren't watching. I had no answer for that. Because she was right. Violence solves immediate problems. It does not cure rotten people. It just teaches them to use doors without cameras. Lily pulled her backpack higher. Please, Aiden, just stay away from this for one day. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to be the dead boy Misha had bought with his last breath, so I nodded. One day. That was all I promised. It lasted until 7:14 that night. I was in my apartment staring at the microwave manual, like it had been written by enemy intelligence when someone knocked on my door. It was Mr. Parker, Lily's grandfather. He was a thin old man with tired eyes and a security guard jacket zipped to his neck. He held a plastic container of stew in one hand. Lily said you don't cook, he said. That is slander. He looked past me at the black mark above the microwave. Accurate slander, I admitted. He smiled and handed me the food. She's a good girl. Too good sometimes. Don't let her push you away just because she's scared. I stared at the container. Warm food. A plastic container instead of a ration pouch. Clean steam instead of sand. No dead men nearby. My throat tightened, which was stupid. It was stew, not a religious experience. Thank you, I said. Mr. Parker nodded. She worries about trouble following people. Been that way since her parents passed. My head came up. He seemed to realize he had said too much and stepped back. Eat before it gets cold. After he left, I sat at the table and opened the container. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo loaded. Lily on the floor of a private room, one hand over her face, 3 girls standing around her in hoodies. Madison's pink sweater showed under one hoodie. Stupid mistake. A text appeared. Tell your stray dog to heel. For a few seconds I just stared. I set the stew aside. Normal life could wait. The photo had a timestamp, a reflection, and one beautiful piece of stupidity. Madison's friends had taken it in front of a mirrored wall with the name of the place glowing backward in blue neon. Lux Room. A private lounge 3 miles from school where rich kids rented rooms, sang badly, drank illegally, and pretended velvet couches made them adults. People always think cruelty makes them clever. Then they record themselves doing it. Humanity is exhausting. I left my apartment in a hoodie and took the stairs 2 at a time. At the bottom, Mr. Parker was in the lobby changing a light bulb. He looked down at me from the stepladder. Aiden, everything okay? I smiled. I hated that smile. It was the one I used when I didn't want civilians asking questions. Just going for a walk. At this hour, fresh air. He looked at the rain starting outside. That's not fresh, that's wet. Still air. He frowned, but I was already out the door. Lux Room sat above a sushi place and below a dental clinic. Classy combination. Nothing says teen criminal behavior like raw fish and root canals. A bored guy at the front desk looked up from his phone. Members only. I showed him the photo on my phone. Which room? His expression changed. Fear of inconvenience crossed his face. A very different species from guilt. I don't know anything about that. I leaned one hand on the counter and looked at the hallway behind him. He swallowed. Room 6, he said. Progress. I walked past him. He did not stop me. Room 6 was empty when I opened it. The couch cushions were crooked. A cup had spilled on the table. On the carpet, near the far wall, I saw a blue ribbon. Lilies. I picked it up. My hand closed around it too hard. The door behind me clicked. 4 guys stepped in. They were older than Tyler's football friends. College age maybe? Local muscle. One wore a Lux Room staff shirt. Another had a silver chain and a face that had been punched by many people and improved by none. Chain guy smiled. You the transfer kid? I put the ribbon in my pocket. Depends who's asking. The Voss kid said you might come sniffing around. Did he say that before or after he cried in the nurse's office? The smile dropped. Apparently I was getting better at American conversation. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a collapsible baton. The staff shirt guy locked the door. Chain guy rolled his wrist. We're supposed to tell you to leave Madison alone, you understand? I understand you brought a stick to a small room. Funny. No, practical. He swung. I stepped inside the arc before the baton built speed and drove my elbow into his jaw. His teeth clicked. His knees gave out. I caught the baton as it fell and used the handle to hit the second guy in the wrist. Bone made a small sound. He screamed and dropped his phone. The third guy grabbed a bottle from the table. I kicked the table into his shins. He folded forward and I planted my palm against the side of his head, guiding him gently into the wall. Gently, for me. The staff shirt guy tried to unlock the door and leave. I grabbed the back of his collar. He froze. Where is Lily? I asked. I don't know, man. I pulled him backward until his heels left the floor. I am having a bad day. Try again. Home, he gasped. They dumped her near the alley. I swear. She walked out. She was alive. Alive. The word helped, barely. Chain guy groaned on the carpet. I crouched beside him and took his phone from his pocket. He tried to grab my wrist. I pressed one finger into the bruised spot under his jaw and his hand forgot its mission. His messages were easy to find. Tyler Voss had sent the room number, Madison's photo, and one short line. Scare him if he comes. I saved everything to my phone. I sent Tyler a message from Chain Guy's number. He came. 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Tyler replied, Bring him to the warehouse. I'm done playing. I stared at the message. People like Tyler are amazing. You hand them one mistake and they build a mansion on it. The warehouse address came 2 seconds later. I left Lux's room through the back stairs. The front desk guy pretended very hard not to see me. Outside, rain turned the streetlights blurry. I checked my phone. Lily had not called or texted. If she was home, she was safe for the moment. That should have settled my nerves. It didn't. The warehouse sat near the river, tucked behind old auto shops and storage lots. Music thumped through the walls before I reached the door. Tyler's crew had chosen a place with no neighbors, bad lighting, and one main exit. For them, that probably felt intimidating. To me, it felt considerate. I walked in through the side door. About 15 people were inside. Football guys, rich kids, a few local hangers-on trying to look dangerous beside people with trust funds. Tyler stood near a folding table with Bryce, Madison, and 2 girls from the photo. Madison saw me first. Her mouth opened. Tyler turned, and his expression lit up. There he is. I closed the door behind me. Someone laughed. Someone else said, Oh, he's alone. Funniest thing I heard all night. Tyler walked forward, rolling his shoulders. You really are stupid. I faced Madison. Where is Lily? Madison crossed her arms, probably crying into her cheap little pillow. The room laughed. I turned back to Tyler. Last chance. Tyler spread his arms. For what? For everyone here to leave with the same number of working limbs they came in with. That got a few nervous laughs. Tyler's face hardened. Break him! The first guy rushed me. I moved and the warehouse forgot how to laugh. I broke grips, not bones when I could help it. I drove knees into stomachs, elbows into jaws, palms into throats, and bodies into folding chairs. A guy swung a metal pipe at my head. I ducked, took the pipe, and hit his leg hard enough to put him on the floor screaming for his mother. A second guy tackled me from behind. I dropped my weight, grabbed his arm, and rolled him over my shoulder into 2 of his friends. Bryce tried to run. I let him. Personal growth should be rewarded. Tyler lasted longer than the others. He hit hard. He had reach. He was angry enough to ignore pain for a few seconds. I stepped inside, trapped his arm, and drove my fist into his ribs. He dropped to one knee. I grabbed him by the jacket and dragged him to the folding table. Madison backed away, eyes wide now. Finally, fear replaced smugness. It suited her better. Tyler coughed. My dad will? I slammed him onto the table. It collapsed under him. Your dad isn't here. The warehouse went silent except for groaning. Madison's phone shook in her hand. I walked toward her. She stepped back and hit the wall. Madison said quickly, I didn't touch her. I pulled Lily's blue ribbon from my pocket. Madison stared at it, her face emptied. I held the ribbon up between us. You took this from her. She had nothing. You sent the photo. Her eyes flicked toward Tyler. There it was, the first crack. When pride dies, blame starts looking for a new address. I stepped closer. I won't hit you, I said. She almost relaxed. I added, but I am going to make sure everyone sees what you are. Her face twisted. You have no idea who you're messing with. That line again. Rich people should put it on their family crest. Tyler was bleeding on a broken table. His friends were curled up on the floor. Madison was pressed against the wall with both hands shaking. Neither do you. I walked out into the rain. By the time I got home, Lily's apartment light was on. I stood in the hallway for a long time, listening. The hallway gave me kitchen sounds, Mr. Parker moving around, Lily answering him in a tired voice. Alive. For tonight, that had to be enough. I slept for 43 minutes. I know because my body woke up like someone had fired a gun beside my ear. The threat was my phone buzzing on the nightstand. Major Reyes. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. It rang again. I answered. Reyes didn't waste ammunition on hello. Tell me you did not put half a football team in the hospital. Half is dramatic. Aiden, I did not put half a football team in the hospital. Silence. How many? He asked. Some needed ice. How many needed doctors? That depends how proud their parents are. Reyes sighed so hard I heard years fall off his life. You promised me you would stay quiet. I tried. Trying is what people say before I find bodies. No one died. Congratulations, you're adapting to civilization at a kindergarten level. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my bruised knuckles. They hurt someone. I figured. His voice softened by half an inch. The Parker girl? I didn't answer. He cursed under his breath. Reyes knew enough about me to understand the danger. I didn't attach to people easily. I didn't attach to places. But when someone fed me stew, laughed at my microwave crime, and looked scared because the world had trained her to be small, my brain handled it badly. My brain handled killing like arithmetic. Feelings came with worse instructions. Reyes said, listen to me. People like the Voss family don't fight fair. They won't keep this in school now. I know. Then act like it. Do not let them drag you somewhere blind. A knock hit my door. 3 slow taps. My eyes moved to the door. Reyes heard the silence. Aiden, someone's here. Don't open it. I stood. Aiden. I ended the call. The knocking came again. I opened the door. 2 men stood in the hallway. They were real criminals, or at least men who wanted the discount version of that title. Football players and rich kids suddenly seemed like the children's menu. One had a neck tattoo creeping above his collar. The other wore a leather jacket and kept one hand inside it. Tattoo smiled. Aiden Walker? No, he blinked. Wrong room? He asked. You asked if I was Aiden Walker. I said no because you already knew. That means this conversation started stupid, and I don't like where it's going. Leather jacket's smile faded. Boss wants to talk. Boss can use a phone. Tattoo stepped closer. Not that kind of talk. The hallway behind them was empty. Mr. Parker's door was closed. Lily's light was off. I stepped out and shut my door quietly. Where? I asked. Leather jacket looked surprised. You coming? You knocked. Tattoo laughed. Kids got balls. The kid had neighbors. That was the reason. They took me to an old boxing gym on the south side. The building wasn't abandoned. Worse, it was owned. Men stood by the entrance watching me with flat eyes. The sign above the door read Southline Athletic Club, but the graffiti on the brick told the truth. Southline Kings. I had heard the name from Noah during lunch. Local gang, drugs, gambling, club security, debt collection, and all the other community service projects criminals enjoy. Inside, the gym smelled like sweat, rubber mats, and bad choices. Dante Crow waited near the ring. He was in his 30s, maybe older. Thick arms, shaved head, gold watch, white tank top under a dark jacket. He didn't look flashy enough to be a cartoon gangster, which made him more dangerous. Real power doesn't need sequins. Dante looked me over. You're the high school kid? Unfortunately. A few men chuckled. Dante didn't. He picked up a cigar from the edge of the ring and rolled it between his fingers. Voss family says you attacked their kids, terrorized their daughter, and sent one boy to the hospital. That's one way to lie. They paid for a message. Return it. Now Dante smiled. The men around him laughed louder. He stepped closer. You got a mouth on you. Only one. Your guys brought me here, so I'm assuming you wanted to hear it. Dante's smile turned thin. I don't like hitting kids. That must be hard in your line of work. One of his men moved. Dante raised a hand, stopping him. But I like rich people owing me favors, so here's the deal. You stay away from the Voss family, stay away from their daughter, stay away from whatever sad little girl started this mess. You transfer schools if they tell you, you disappear if they ask nicely, and if you don't? He nodded toward the ring. 4 men climbed in. Big, confident, some boxing training, judging by their stances. They were men who had mistaken violence for identity. Dante pointed to the ring. You get educated. My eyes moved from the ropes to Dante. Do I get gloves? His men laughed again. Dante tilted his head. You want gloves? No. Just checking how committed you are to pretending this is a sport. That did it. One of the men in the ring cursed and climbed through the ropes toward me. I stepped forward and hit him under the chin before his foot touched the mat. He dropped backward into the ring, eyes rolling. The gym went quiet. Dante's cigar stopped moving. I climbed into the ring. The remaining 3 spread out. Better than the football players. The first threw a jab-cross combination. Fast enough for a gym, slow enough for my past. I slipped the jab, blocked the cross with my forearm, and drove my knuckles into his liver. He folded sideways and went down choking. The second tried to kick my knee. I stepped over it, trapped his leg, and swept his other foot. His back hit the mat hard enough to shake the ropes. The third hesitated. I appreciated that. Hesitation means the brain still has a pulse. One of Dante's men outside the ring pulled a knife. Civilization, kindergarten level. He came over the ropes with the blade low. I caught his wrist, turned it until his fingers opened, and drove my elbow into his face. The knife hit the mat. I kicked it out of the ring. Dante watched without smiling. The room understood what Dante understood. Toughness had nothing to do with it. I had survived worse rooms, worse men, and worse rules. Dante stepped into the ring himself. His men shifted uneasily. He moved well, heavy but controlled. He threw a hook meant to test me. I let it graze my shoulder and answered with a short strike to his ribs. He grunted, then smiled. Damn, he said, you are not a normal kid. I keep telling people. He attacked again, this time harder. I blocked 2 punches, took the third on my forearm, and felt the bone complain. He was stronger than the others by a lot, still not enough. I stepped inside, caught his wrist, hit his elbow, then drove my palm into his chest. He stumbled back into the ropes. Before he recovered, I swept his leg and pinned him face down with one knee between his shoulder blades. The gym froze. I leaned close. Tell the Voss family their message failed. Dante breathed hard under me. Then he laughed. There was no humor in it. His world had just changed shape. You got any idea how much money they have? He asked. No, enough to make trouble. I pressed down slightly. He winced. Then give me trouble I can use, I said. Dante went still. 5 minutes later I walked out of the gym with screenshots from his phone. Mrs. Voss had paid him. Tyler had sent the warehouse address. Madison had sent photos. Dante had voice messages, payment records, and one beautiful voicemail from Mrs. Voss saying she wanted me scared badly enough to leave town. People kept handing me proof like they were trying to be helpful. On the sidewalk, Dante called after me from the gym doorway, one arm hanging stiffly. Hey kid. I stopped. He wiped blood from his lip. Who the hell are you? I gave him the only answer I could afford. A student. Dante laughed once, low and nervous. Sure, he said, and I'm the damn tooth fairy. By Monday morning, Westbridge High had 2 problems. Half the school had seen videos of me folding Tyler Voss and his friends like cheap lawn chairs. The Voss family still believed money could delete reality. So, they tried. Mrs. Voss arrived at school with an attorney, 2 board members, and the face of a woman who had practiced moral outrage in the mirror. Tyler wore sunglasses indoors because apparently humiliation needs accessories. Madison walked behind them in a cream jacket, looking fragile enough for cameras and healthy enough to ruin lives. Principal Whitaker called an emergency disciplinary hearing in the auditorium conference room. I sat on one side with Lily and Mr. Parker. Mr. Parker had insisted on coming even though Lily begged him to stay home. He wore his good security guard jacket, the one without coffee stains, and held a folder of printed screenshots like paper could protect his granddaughter. That hit me somewhere ugly. Across from us sat the Voss family, their attorney, Coach Daniels, and 2 board members who looked like they had already decided which side came with donations. Mrs. Voss opened first. She stood, placed one hand over her heart and said, "My children have been terrorized by a violent transfer student with an unverifiable background." Dirty opening. Effective, unfortunately. The attorney nodded like he was watching art. Mrs. Voss continued, "Madison has been afraid to sleep. Tyler's college future is in jeopardy. Bryce is injured. And this poor girl." She gestured at Lily. Lily stiffened. "This poor girl has been manipulated by him." I almost admired the technique. If the facts don't love you, kidnap the victim and make her part of your lie. Mr. Parker's hand tightened on the folder. Lily said quietly, "That's not true." Madison looked down, eyes shining on command. "Lily, I know you're scared of him." I studied her face. She refused to look back. Cowardice, now with eyeliner. The attorney slid printed stills from the classroom videos across the table. All of them showed me hitting Tyler's friends. None showed Tyler entering with his crew. Very selective, like ordering a burger and serving only the pickle, he said. The footage speaks for itself. No, I said. It mumbles when you cut the beginning off. The board member on the left frowned. The attorney glared at me. You think this is funny? No, I think it's edited. The room shifted. I placed my phone on the table and played the full clip Noah had sent me. Tyler entering, Tyler threatening me, Lily stumbling in hurt, Tyler saying Madison worked fast, Madison's fake tears paused. Mrs. Voss leaned forward. That doesn't prove anything about Madison. Correct, I said. I played the photo from Lux's room, Lily on the floor. Madison's pink sweater visible under the hoodie, her red-haired friend laughing in the mirror, the timestamp, the room name glowing on the wall. Mr. Parker made a sound beside me. Lily looked down. I wanted to apologize for showing it. I wanted to burn the phone. I wanted to do several illegal things to everyone across the table. Instead, I kept my voice flat. She didn't fall. The first board member's face changed. The second board member stopped touching his pen. Mrs. Voss recovered fast. Teenage drama, a private misunderstanding. That doesn't justify him attacking my sons. Madison grabbed her mother's hand. Mom, please, I don't want this to get uglier. Beautiful performance, a gold medal in garbage. I swiped to Dante Crow's voicemail. Mrs. Voss's voice filled the room. I want him scared. Badly. I don't care how. My family will handle the school. Nobody moved. Even the attorney looked at her like she had just set his billable hours on fire. Mrs. Voss's face went stiff. That is taken out of context. I played Tyler's text next. Bring him to the warehouse. I'm done playing. Madison's message came next. Tell your stray dog to heel. Lily's face crumpled at that one. Mr. Parker stood so fast his chair scraped back. You called my granddaughter a dog? He asked. His voice shook with restraint. Madison said nothing. Tyler snapped. This is illegal. He stole those. I said, from the gang your mother hired? Wrong sentence, Tyler. The room turned toward Mrs. Voss. She tried to speak, but no words came out fast enough. The attorney stood. We need a recess. Principal Whitaker finally found his spine. It had been missing for a while, but good for him. No, he said, we need campus security to escort Tyler and Madison Voss from school property pending expulsion proceedings. Mrs. Voss exploded. You can't do that. Whitaker looked at the board members. Neither of them defended her. Donations are nice. Lawsuits with video evidence are a whole different meal. The first board member said, the school will cooperate with law enforcement. Madison stood, face pale. Dad? Mr. Voss had been silent the entire hearing. He looked older now. He looked at Madison, then Tyler, then his wife. You recorded it? He asked Madison. She started crying for real this time. Too late. Tyler kicked his chair. This is bullshit. Noah had been allowed in as a witness. From the back wall, he whispered, Bro, maybe stop talking. I almost smiled. Tyler lunged toward me. Security grabbed him before I had to. That was good. My restraint was tired. As they dragged him toward the door, Tyler shouted, You think you're safe? You think this is over? I didn't answer. Madison walked past Lily, crying hard enough to shake. For 1 second she stopped. Are you happy now? Madison whispered. Lily looked up. Her hand was still shaking, but her voice didn't. No, she said. I'm just not scared of you. That hit Madison harder than any punch I could have thrown. Her face broke. The school expelled Madison and Tyler by the end of the week. Bryce transferred voluntarily. The official statement used words like safety, values, and community. Adults love soft words after hard cowardice. The videos leaked anyway. Enough leaked to ruin them. Madison's fake sweetness, Tyler's threats, the gang payment, Lily's assault. Social media chewed them alive. Mr. Voss resigned from the school board. Mrs. Voss deleted every public account she had, which was probably the first useful thing she had done all year. For 2 days, Westbridge High almost felt breathable. Lily walked down the hall without lowering her head. People moved out of her way because guilt grows legs once witnesses remember they had eyes. Noah started sitting with us at lunch. A few of Tyler's old friends avoided my gaze like I carried contagious consequences. I almost believed the worst was over. That Friday, Mrs. Harlow introduced 2 new transfer students. The first was a boy in a dark blazer who stood too straight and checked every corner of the room before sitting down. The second was a girl with black hair, calm eyes, and the kind of expensive silence that makes people whisper before they know why. Mrs. Harlow smiled. Everyone. This is Ava Veyron and Cole Maddox. Noah leaned toward me, suddenly pale again. You know Veyron Global, he whispered. No. Defense tech, security contracts, satellites, drones, rich, like buy a senator and still have change rich. Ava Veyron walked past my desk. Cole Maddox looked at me once. His stare had none of Bryce's panic or Tyler's ego. He looked like he was measuring exits too. For the first time since I came to Westbridge, someone at school looked past the pretty transfer student mask. He saw a problem, and I hated that his eyes weren't completely wrong. Ava Veyron didn't act like the other rich kids. That made her harder to read, which made her worse. Madison wanted everyone to know she had power. Ava moved like proving it bored her. Her voice stayed low, her money stayed out of sight, and she had no table of followers laughing on command. People made space for her because some names arrived before the person wearing them. Cole Maddox sat 2 seats behind her and watched everything. He watched the door, the windows, the teacher's hands, my hands, especially my hands. I noticed because I was watching his. By lunch, Noah had delivered a full nervous documentary about the Veyron family. Veyron Global handled aerospace tech, private security systems, military software, and enough government contracts to make regular billionaires feel underdressed. Ava's grandfather was the chairman. Her cousin Vivian ran one of the security divisions. You should avoid them, Noah said. I avoid everyone. No, you don't. You keep accidentally destroying social hierarchies. That was one time. He stared. Fine, several times. Across the cafeteria, Ava sat alone with Cole standing nearby instead of sitting. That bothered me. The familiarity was what bothered me. Bodyguard behavior. Asset behavior. Cage behavior. Lily came in a few minutes later and sat across from me with a paper bag. She looked better. Still tired, but not folded in on herself. She slid half a sandwich toward me. Grandpa said you forgot lunch. I didn't forget. You brought a protein bar with Russian writing on it. I checked the bar in my hand. That counts. It expired 3 years ago. Still counts. She pushed the sandwich closer. Eat real food, Aiden. I stared at it longer than necessary. In my old life, food was fuel, bait, or poison. In America, apparently, it could be concern wrapped in wax paper. Dangerous country, America. I ate the sandwich. It was good. Noah watched us and grinned like an idiot. What? Lily asked. Nothing, Noah said, which meant everything. I was about to tell him his face was committing treason when Cole Maddox appeared beside our table. He didn't sneak, he just moved quietly enough that normal people didn't notice until he was already there. I noticed 4 steps earlier. Cole looked at me. Aiden Walker? Yes. Can we talk? No. Lily blinked. Noah looked impressed and terrified. Cole's expression didn't change. It concerns Ava. Then talk to Ava. He glanced at Lily, then back to me. It concerns your background. There it was. My appetite left the table before I did. I stood before Lily could ask. Cole led me to the empty hallway near the auditorium. He kept distance, but not enough. His posture said trained, disciplined, arrogant in the specific way disciplined people get when no one has punished them properly. He turned and said, "Your transfer records are fake." I kept my face blank. Inside, everything sharpened. How would you know? I asked. I checked. That's creepy. Ava has had kidnapping attempts before. We investigate unusual variables. I'm a variable? A violent transfer student with no family, no verifiable school history, and forged overseas documents? Yes. I almost respected the bluntness. Almost. What do you want? I asked. The truth. Try a church. Cole's eyes narrowed. Where did you learn to fight? Bad neighborhoods. Which one? The bad one. He stepped closer. You think this is a joke? No. I think you're asking questions you don't have the clearance to survive. That slipped out. Too much zero in one sentence. Cole heard it too. His hand shifted near his jacket. I studied it. He stopped. The air between us changed. Ava's voice came from the doorway. Cole! We both turned. Ava stood there with Lily beside her. Lily looked confused and worried. Ava looked curious, which was worse than worried. Curiosity gets people killed because it feels smarter than fear. Ava gave me a polite smile. Sorry, Cole can be intense. He hides it well. Her smile grew by a millimeter. I wanted to thank you. For what? For what you did for Lily. She told me some of it. Lily looked embarrassed. Not all of it. Ava turned to Lily. Would you walk with me to the corner store after school? I wanted to catch up properly. Lily hesitated, then nodded. Sure. I didn't like it. Ava hadn't done anything wrong. People like her carried danger the way some people carry perfume. You didn't always see it, but it stayed in the air. After school, Lily told me she could walk herself. You don't have to babysit me, she said. I wasn't babysitting. You followed me to the vending machine yesterday. I wanted chips. You bought nothing. I was considering chips. She gave me a look. I sighed. Fine, I worry. Her expression softened, then she looked away. I know, but I need to feel normal too. That stopped me, because I understood that better than she knew. So I let her go with Ava. I watched from across the street like a hypocrite. Cole saw me and walked over. I thought you weren't interested, he said. I'm interested in people not getting hurt, then stay out of Ava's business. I was here first. He looked annoyed. You always talk like this? Only when people deserve customer service. A black van rolled past us slowly. My body noticed before my brain named it. Too slow! Tinted windows, front passenger looking down, not out. Driver's hands tight on the wheel. I stepped off the curb. Cole grabbed my arm. What are you doing? The van accelerated. It jumped the curb near the corner store. Ava turned at the sound. Lily froze. The side door opened. 3 masked men rushed out. Cole swore and ran. I ran faster. The first man grabbed Ava. The second went for Lily because she was standing close. Wrong place. Wrong second. Story of human suffering. I reached them as the third man swung a metal baton. I took the hit on my forearm. Pain flashed bright. I drove my shoulder into his chest and sent him back into the van. The second man dragged Lily toward the open door. I caught his jacket. The driver hit the gas. The van lurched. My grip tore loose. For half a second I saw Lily's face through the open door. She wasn't screaming. She looked shocked, like normal life had betrayed her again. The door slammed shut. The van sped away. I sprinted after it until my lungs burned and my injured arm went numb. Useless. A van beats legs. Another brilliant discovery from the American school system. Cole grabbed my shoulder from behind. I turned and almost broke his arm. He caught the movement and barely pulled back. Don't, he snapped. We need my security team. Down the road, the van turned left and disappeared. My pulse slowed. That wasn't calm. That was the old door opening. Cole was talking into his phone, calling Veyron security, giving descriptions, barking orders. I heard him. I ignored most of it. There was mud on the curb, tire marks, a partial plate, a sticker on the back window from a car wash on the south side. Lily had been taken because of Ava. Ava would be valuable. Lily would be disposable. That meant I had less time than Cole. Cole ended the call and grabbed my sleeve. You stay with me until we sort out your involvement. My gaze dropped to his hand. He let go. Smart. I'm going to find Lily, I said. Veyron security will find them. Not fast enough. You don't know that. I know what disposable hostages look like. Cole stared at me. For once, he had no comeback. I started walking. He followed. I didn't stop him. Following is not teamwork, it's just someone choosing to be behind you. The first place I went was not the police. Before anyone gets morally excited, police are useful for reports, flashing lights, and arriving after the second terrible thing happens. I needed a location, so I went to Dante Crow. The Southline gym was quieter than the last time. A few men were replacing a broken mirror. One of them saw me and immediately found something urgent to do in another room. Memory still had survival value. Dante sat near the ring with an ice pack on his ribs and a cigar unlit between his teeth. When he saw me, his eyes narrowed. You here to break the other side? Kidnapping crew grabbed Ava Veyron and Lily Parker. Black van, partial plate, car wash sticker from Southside. His expression changed at Ava's name. Did you say Veyron? Yes, Ava Veyron exactly. He pulled the cigar from his mouth and said, that is not local teenage bullshit. Yeah, I noticed that too. Cole entered behind me, breathing hard and furious, and said, You came to a gang boss? Dante looked at Cole's blazer, then at me, and asked, Who is the suit? He is just noise right now. Cole glared and said, I am Ava's protection detail. Dante laughed and said, Then you are having a terrible workday. I almost liked Dante for that, but only for half a second. I stepped closer and asked, Who takes that kind of job? Dante's humor disappeared and he said, Not my people. Dante, do not play with me. He held up one hand and said, I said not my people. I did not say I heard nothing. He stood slowly and walked to a side office. Cole started to follow. I put one hand on his chest. He looked at my hand. My eyes stayed on his face. He stayed outside the office. Inside the office, Dante opened a drawer and took out a burner phone. He said, A crew was asking around yesterday. Out of town, guys. Needed a warehouse with no cameras, a clean van, and phones that wouldn't ping after midnight. They had cash. Too much cash. I passed. Why exactly is that? Because Veyron trouble gets federal attention. I enjoy crime, kid. I don't enjoy prison forever. Finally, a criminal with a business plan. Who actually took the job? I asked. East River Locos, small crew, stupid, hungry. They rent space near the old paper mill. He wrote an address on a receipt. I took the receipt from him. Dante grabbed my wrist before I turned. His men outside tensed. He let go before I had to teach him manners again. He said, "Listen, if this is Veyron level, there is a client behind it. The locos are just hands." "Yeah, I already know that. And if your girl is just extra, I know that part too." He studied my face carefully. For the first time, Dante looked less afraid of what I could do and more afraid of why I would do it. He said, "Do not go soft in there." I folded the receipt into my palm. Soft is not the problem. When I came out, Cole was already on his phone telling Veyron security about the address. I took the keys from a motorcycle hanging near the gym office. Dante shouted after me, "That is my bike, I'll bring it back. You know how to ride?" I put on the helmet. I learned in a war zone. That does not comfort me. I kicked the bike alive and tore out into traffic. Cole yelled something behind me, probably an order, maybe a threat. I filed it under background noise. The old paper mill sat near the river, 10 minutes out if you drove like a person with retirement plans. I got there in 5! Rain started again as I reached the area. The mill was dark except for one loading bay, with weak yellow light spilling through broken windows. A black van sat behind a rusted truck. Same sticker, same mud pattern. I killed the engine 2 blocks away and moved on foot. My arms still hurt from the baton. My ribs hurt from Dante's man the night before. My knuckles were split. My body had a lot of opinions. I ignored every warning from my body. The first lookout stood under the side awning smoking. He had a pistol tucked in his waistband and earbuds in both ears. Honestly, the earbuds offended me. I came from behind, covered his mouth, and put him out in 4 seconds. He wasn't dead, he was sleeping without permission. I took the pistol, removed the magazine, cleared the chamber, and dropped the pieces into a storm drain. I don't like guns in civilian spaces. Too many ways for idiots to get brave. Inside, 2 more men argued near a forklift. One of them said, "Boss said keep the rich girl clean." The other man laughed and asked, "What about the other one?" I was already moving. I hit the laughing one first. His head snapped sideways and he dropped against the forklift. The second went for his gun. I grabbed his wrist, slammed it into the metal frame, and drove my knee into his stomach. He collapsed to the floor, coughing. I crouched beside him. "Where are the girls?" He spat at me. I sighed at his bad choice. "There is always one." I pressed my thumb into the nerve behind his jaw. His whole body locked up. "Where are they being held?" He choked out. "Office, 2nd floor. Is the client here?" "No. Boss is waiting for a call." That was good enough for me. I zip-tied his hands with cable ties from the forklift. By the stairwell, I heard footsteps behind me. It was Cole coming through the door. Of course he had followed me. He came through the side door holding a compact pistol low, face tight with anger. "You left me behind. You still caught up. Barely, you reckless idiot. Congratulations on surviving the trip." He looked at the unconscious men and asked, "You did this already?" "No, they got sleepy from the weather." Cole's jaw flexed with anger. I pointed down the hall and said, "2nd floor, girls are in the office, more men inside, stay behind me. I don't take orders from you." "Then stay somewhere else." I moved before he could answer. At the top of the stairs, a man with a shotgun turned the corner. Cole raised his pistol. But Cole was too slow. I threw the lookout's empty pistol at the man's face. It hit his nose. He flinched. I crossed the distance, grabbed the shotgun barrel, twisted it away, and slammed my palm under his chin. He hit the wall and slid down. Cole stared at me in disbelief. "Was that thing loaded?" he asked. I checked the shotgun and emptied it. "Yeah, I think it was." "And you threw an empty gun at him?" "It was just nearby." Cole looked like he wanted to argue with physics. We reached the 2nd floor hallway. Voices came from the office. Ava's voice, calm but strained. "You don't need the other girl, let her go." A man laughed and said, "You do not give orders here." Lily did not speak at all. That scared me more than anything. Cole stepped toward the door. I grabbed his shoulder and pulled him back as gunfire ripped through the wood. Bullets punched holes through the wall where his chest had been. Cole's eyes widened in shock. Inside, the boss shouted, "I heard you, asshole! Come in slow, or I start cutting pieces off the extra girl." Lily made a muffled sound. My vision narrowed on the door. Cole whispered to me, "We wait, my team is minutes out." "No, we should not wait. He still has hostages. He has one hostage he needs and one he doesn't." Cole's face went pale because he understood. The boss shouted again, "I am counting down now." The hallway gave me options. Door, thin wall, window outside, rusted support beam, office layout from the outside windows, 2 men near the door, boss behind desk, hostages likely on the right. Misha used to say I got quiet before doing something stupid. Misha was wrong about that. I got quiet before doing something necessary. The boss reached 3. I went through the wall. Drywall is not a door. That's why idiots forget to guard it. I hit the weak section beside the office entrance with my shoulder, breaking through plaster and old wooden studs in one ugly burst. Dust exploded around me. The two men inside turned toward the noise instead of the door. That was the point. I grabbed the first man's gun hand and drove it upward as he fired. The shot cracked into the ceiling. I slammed my forehead into his nose, took the weapon, emptied it into the floor away from everyone, and hit him with the grip. The second man swung a crowbar. I ducked, stepped behind him, and drove my elbow into the back of his neck. He fell forward into a filing cabinet hard enough to dent it. The boss stood behind a desk with a knife pressed near Lily's shoulder. Ava sat tied to a chair beside her, one cheek bruised, eyes sharp. Lily had duct tape over her mouth. Her face was white, but when she saw me, her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. Something bad shifted inside me. The boss yanked Lily against him. "Move, and she bleeds." I stopped. He was mid-40s, scar over one eyebrow, cheap suit, nervous hands. He was a middleman with ambition, which is sometimes worse than a mastermind. Small men do big damage when they are close enough to panic. Cole came through the actual door behind me, pistol raised. The boss pressed the knife closer. "Drop it!" Cole froze. I spoke without looking back. "Cole!" He didn't move. "Drop it," I said. His jaw tightened, but he put the pistol on the floor and kicked it away. The boss smiled. "Good. See, the bodyguard listens." Lily's wrist ties were plastic zip ties, too tight. Her fingers were turning red. My voice stayed even. "Let her go." The boss laughed. "You people keep saying that like I owe you favors." Ava spoke, voice cold. "Heard her and Veyron will bury you." He tightened his grip on Lily. "Veyron will pay me first, so that was the plan. Hold Ava, demand pressure on some deal, money, contract, whatever rich people bled over. Lily was just leverage against me because I had arrived. My mistake. I had made her matter." The boss looked at me. "You care about this one, huh?" I said nothing. His smile widened. "That's useful." It was exactly what I had spent 2 years avoiding. Caring gives people handles. Misha had been a handle. My family had been a wound. Lily was becoming both, and I hated myself for letting it happen. The boss jerked his chin at Cole. "Tie him!" One of the men groaning near the cabinet pushed himself up and reached for Cole. I moved my eyes to Cole once. He understood this time. When the man stepped close, Cole snapped his head back into the man's face and kicked his knee. Messy, but not bad. The boss looked toward Cole for half a second. Half a second was generous. I threw the crowbar. It hit the boss's knife hand. The blade fell. I crossed the room before it hit the floor, grabbed Lily, and pulled her behind me. The boss reached under the desk. "Gun!" I caught his wrist as the pistol came up and drove it into the desk edge. He fired once. The shot went into a wall. Ava flinched but stayed silent. Brave girl. Terrible survival hobby. I twisted his wrist until the pistol dropped, then drove my fist into his stomach. He folded, but I didn't let him fall. I grabbed his jacket and slammed him onto the desk. Wood cracked. He gasped, eyes bulging. I leaned close. "You put a knife on her." He wheezed. "It was business." That sentence almost got him killed. I saw the old room again. Snow, smoke. Misha's hand pushing me away. Men in black masks calling us assets. Business. Always business. Clean word for dirty hands. Lily made a small sound behind me. I stopped. My fist was raised. The boss stared up at it, shaking. I lowered my hand. I lowered it for Lily. Cole cut Ava free. Then he moved to Lily, but I was already there, peeling the tape from her mouth carefully. She inhaled hard. "Aiden," she whispered, "can you stand?" She nodded, then tried and almost collapsed. I caught her. Her hands grabbed my hoodie like she expected the floor to disappear. Ava stood behind Cole, rubbing her wrists. She looked at me with something between shock and calculation. I didn't like either. The boss groaned on the floor. "You're dead. You know that? Whoever hired us, they won't let this go." I crouched beside him. He flinched. "Who hired you?" He laughed weakly. "Go to hell." I picked up the knife from the floor. Lily's hand tightened on my sleeve. Her eyes were wide. Afraid of him. Afraid of me. That second fear hurt more. I set the knife on the desk. The boss saw it and exhaled. I took his phone from his pocket instead. People really need better passwords. His messages had no name for the client, just payment instructions, a blocked number, and references to a Veyron contract dispute. Enough for Ava's people. It wasn't enough for me. Sirens wailed in the distance. Veyron security stormed the building 3 minutes later. Police came 2 minutes after them. Very official. Very late. Everyone had badges, radios, body armor, and the energy of people arriving after the kitchen is already on fire. Ava's security team swarmed her. Cole tried to stand straight despite blood running from a cut near his eyebrow. One guard barked at him for going in without backup. Cole ignored him and looked at me instead. "You knew the wall would break?" he asked. Nope, I didn't. His stare sharpened. I knew it was old, I corrected. That is not the same thing. It worked. He looked at the broken wall, the unconscious men, the cracked desk, and the boss being cuffed. Unfortunately, Cole said, it did. Lily sat on a crate while a medic checked her wrists. I stood a few feet away because if I stood closer I might hover. If I hovered, she would feel trapped. I was learning. Slowly. Ava came over once her guard stopped smothering her. Thank you, she said. I kept my eyes on Lily. I didn't come for you. Ava's mouth twitched. I noticed. Honesty saves time. She glanced at the broken office wall. Still, I was saved. That was collateral success. Cole made a sound that might have been pain or laughter. Lily looked at me then. Really looked! There were questions in her face. Too many. How did you move like that? Why did the men fear you? Why did you know where to hit? Why did you look more comfortable in a room full of guns than in a cafeteria? She didn't ask. That was its own kind of mercy. As the police led the boss past us, he stared at me. You ain't some student, he muttered. Blood marked his lip. Cuffs locked his wrists. Fear sat all over his face. No, I said quietly. I stopped myself. Lily heard the first word. Ava heard it too. Cole definitely heard it. I turned away. Too late. Sometimes the worst wounds don't come from enemies. Sometimes they come from your own mouth opening half an inch too far. Hospitals are battlefield tents with better lighting and more paperwork. The chairs were still uncomfortable. The coffee was still a crime. Everyone still lies by saying, you're going to be fine, when what they mean is, you're alive right now, and that's what we've got. Lily sat in an examination room with Mr. Parker beside her. He had arrived wearing his security jacket inside out because he had dressed too fast. When he saw the bruises on her wrists, he covered his mouth with one hand and turned away. That hurt to watch. Lily kept telling him she was okay. People who are okay don't repeat it that much. A nurse checked my forearm and said I needed an X-ray. I said I didn't. She looked at me like I was a dumb teenage boy. Technically, my disguise was working. Lily heard and leaned out of her room. Get the X-ray. It's fine. Aiden, the nurse smiled. Traitor. I got the X-ray. Hairline fracture. Minor. Wrap. Rest. Follow up. I nodded through the instructions while planning to ignore half of them. When I came back, Lily was sitting alone in the hallway. Mr. Parker had gone to fill out forms. She had a blanket around her shoulders and my hoodie folded in her lap. I didn't remember giving it to her. Maybe I had. The night was blurry around the edges. I sat beside her with one empty chair between us. She looked at the bandage on my arm. You got hurt. It happens. You say that like getting hurt is weather. Sometimes it is. She was quiet for a while. She said, I'm scared to ask you anything. I stared at the vending machine across the hall. Someone had taped an out-of-order sign to it, but the machine still hummed like it was proud of lying. That's smart, I said. Lily's fingers tightened on the hoodie. Are you dangerous? I wanted to say no. I had lied better under torture. Yes, I said. Her breath caught. I faced her then, because cowardice would have been worse. But not to you. She watched my face like she was trying to find the hidden trick. There are things I can't tell you, I said. I trust you. That is exactly why I don't want that poison in your life. That sounds like something dangerous people say. It is. She almost smiled. Almost. Her eyes filled again. I thought normal was finally possible, she whispered. That sentence hit harder than Dante Crow. I had thought the same thing. Mr. Parker returned before I could answer. He thanked me so many times I started to feel sick. Gratitude is hard when you think the person thanking you is in danger because of you. Ava visited an hour later with Cole and 2 Veyron security officers. Cole had stitches over one eyebrow and moved stiffly. He looked less polished. Better, honestly. Ava stopped in front of Lily first. I'm sorry, she said. Lily shook her head. You were kidnapped too. Because of me. Not by you. Ava went quiet. That was the kind of sentence kind people say without realizing it can ruin someone. Ava turned to me. My grandfather wants to meet you. No. Cole sighed like he had expected that. Ava kept going. He also wants to pay for Lily's medical care and counseling, no strings attached. Mr. Parker looked overwhelmed. Lily looked like she wanted to refuse but didn't know how. I said, accept that part. Lily frowned. Aiden, accept it. Being proud is expensive. Mr. Parker's eyes softened. He nodded slowly. Ava said, there is one more thing. Of course there was. Rich people never bring one thing. They bring bundles. She looked at Cole, then back at me. Veyron security reviewed what happened at the mill. I stayed still. Cole told them you were the reason we survived. Cole looked away like the wall had become fascinating. Ava continued, my grandfather believes our security division needs to understand how badly we failed. Sounds like a family problem. He wants your assessment. I don't work for him. He'll pay. No. Ava's expression didn't change, but I saw the disappointment. She wasn't used to people refusing cleanly. Cole spoke then. It doesn't have to be employment. One day, you watch our training, give comments, leave. Why? Cole's jaw tightened. Because I failed Ava, and if I failed because I was arrogant, I need to know exactly how. That was honest. Annoying. Honesty makes refusal harder, Ava added. And because people are going to keep asking about you, if my grandfather is satisfied, he can keep his side of the family from digging too aggressively. There it was. The real hook. My fake records had survived school-level curiosity. They might not survive billionaire curiosity. Veyron Global had government friends, private intelligence friends, and probably 3 satellites watching their coffee orders. If they kept digging, they might find something. If they found something, other people might notice the hole. A hole with Russia at the bottom. Lily watched me, worried and confused. Normal life was apparently a hallway full of doors, and every door opened into my face. I turned back to Ava. One day, I said. Cole blinked. Ava looked surprised too. I pointed at Cole. My conditions are simple. I do this alone, your team stays out of my way, and my past stays dead. Cole said, you don't give conditions to Veyron Global. I stood. He remembered the office wall. His mouth made a wise career choice. Ava said, agreed. The next day, a black SUV picked me up outside my apartment. Lily watched from the building entrance with her arms folded. You look like you're being arrested, she said. I've been arrested. This car is nicer, she frowned. You had been arrested? Allegedly. Aiden, I'll be back. She looked like she hated how much that mattered. So did I. Veyron Global's security campus sat outside the city behind gates, cameras, and guards who scanned the SUV like the asphalt might confess. The building was all glass and steel, expensive enough to look offended by fingerprints. Inside, I met Ava's grandfather, Arthur Veyron. He was old, sharp-eyed, and calm in a way that did not feel lazy. He shook my hand, then looked at my bandaged forearm. You saved my granddaughter with a fractured arm. I didn't know it was fractured. That does not make it less impressive, it makes it worse planning. He smiled. Cole said you were difficult. Cole says useful things occasionally. Arthur laughed once, his face turned serious. I won't ask who trained you. Good, but I will ask what you saw at the mill. Through the glass wall, Veyron guards trained on mats below. I saw people with good equipment and bad timing. Cole, standing nearby, winced. Arthur did not. Then tell us where we are blind. That was how I ended up in a Veyron training room wearing borrowed athletic gear, while 20 professional guards stared at me like someone had brought a stray dog into a board meeting. One guard looked me up and down and muttered, "This is the kid?" I heard him. Everyone heard him. Cole closed his eyes. I met the guard's eyes. Apparently. The guard smiled. And just like Bryce Voss, he made the fatal mistake of thinking a teenager could not embarrass him in public. The Veyron guard's name was Grant Mercer. I learned that because he introduced himself before trying to hit me. Polite guy. Terrible hobby. The training room had padded floors, mirrored walls, and a balcony above where Ava, Arthur Veyron, Vivian Veyron, Cole, and several senior staff watched. Vivian was Ava's cousin, maybe 10 years older, with short black hair and a smile that made people want to check their wallets. She ran part of Veyron's security and clearly enjoyed seeing whether the stray dog could bite. Grant rolled his shoulders across from me. Don't worry, he said. I'll go easy. I nodded. Thank you. That seemed to annoy him. People hate when you accept their condescension as customer service. The instructor raised one hand. Light contact. Controlled spar. Begin. Grant came in fast with a jab toward my face. Fast for a trained guard, slow for bad memories. I stepped back. His fist cut through empty air. He followed with a hook. I slipped under it and tapped his ribs with 2 fingers. It was not a strike, it was a receipt. He frowned. The guards watching along the wall laughed. Grant rushed again. This time he feinted high and kicked low. Better. I shifted my weight, let the kick pass, and touched his shoulder as I moved around him. He turned red. You planning to fight or dance? He snapped. I thought this was light contact. More laughter. From the balcony, Vivian leaned on the rail, amused. Ava watched quietly. Cole watched my feet. Smartest person in the room at that moment, unfortunately. Grant stopped playing. His next punch was real, so I answered. I parried his wrist, stepped inside, and drove my palm into his chest. He stumbled back. Before he reset, I hooked his ankle and put him on the mat. Clean, controlled, embarrassing. The laughter stopped. Grant stared up at me, shocked. I stepped back. You okay? He slapped the mat and stood too fast. Pride had taken the wheel, and pride drives drunk. He threw 3 punches in a row. I blocked the first, slipped the second, caught the third, and turned his arm just enough to freeze him on his toes. His breath hitched. I leaned close. Your left shoulder opens before you throw. I let him go. He swung again immediately. Of course he did. I dropped low, swept his leg, and placed 2 knuckles lightly against his throat before his back settled on the mat. This time, nobody laughed. The instructor stepped forward. Enough. Grant lay still, breathing hard. I removed my hand and stood. Vivian clapped from the balcony. Slow, deliberate, annoying. Well, she called down, that was educational. Grant's face looked like he wanted to crawl under the mat and declare residency. Arthur Veyron did not clap. He studied me. That was worse. Another guard, a bigger one named Ellis, volunteered next. He had 20 pounds on Grant and the expression of a man who thought weight classes were destiny. They are not. Ellis tried to corner me. Good pressure, good stance, better than Grant. I let him push forward for 20 seconds while I learned his rhythm. Then I kicked his thigh twice in the same spot. His guard dropped. I hit his solar plexus with the heel of my palm and tapped his neck as he bent forward. He dropped to one knee, coughing. The instructor shouted, "No neck strikes." I blinked. There are rules? Several guards stared at me. Cole put one hand over his face. I told the instructor, "Sorry." I meant it. Mostly. Vivian laughed softly from above. "Arthur, where exactly did you find this boy?" Arthur didn't answer. The training ended there because the guards were tired of discovering new insecurities. In the locker room, Cole stood beside me while I changed back into my school uniform. "You held back," he said. "Yes." He looked at me in the mirror. "That was you holding back." I buttoned my shirt. "They are employees. Enemies get treated differently." Cole went quiet. That difference mattered to me more than I wanted to admit. Enemies were simple. Employees had dental plans. After the assessment, Arthur offered payment. I tried to refuse. He insisted. I accepted because I had rent, a broken microwave, and a growing addiction to food that wasn't expired. Vivian tried to recruit me. Of course she did. She met me in a glass office with a view of the training floor and placed a sleek black business card on the table. "We could use someone like you," she said. "No, you didn't hear the offer." I heard enough. Her smile sharpened. Money, protection, a legal identity that withstands pressure, access to people who can make your life easier. That last part landed too close. The card sat between us like bait. For one ugly second I imagined accepting. A better apartment, real food, a fake school file strong enough to survive the next curious rich girl. Misha's last moment cut through the offer, his shaking hands pushing my tag into his vest. "Run straight ahead, keep running." I slid the card back to Vivian. "I didn't fake my death to become someone else's weapon." Her smile faded. Arthur drove me back himself, which felt ridiculous. Billionaire chairman, silent driver, me in the back seat trying not to bleed on expensive leather from a reopened knuckle. Before I got out, he said, "Aiden, people with your ability don't get to remain invisible forever." I opened the door. "Watch me." He smiled like I'd said something sad. That bothered me all the way back to my apartment. Lily was waiting on the front steps with Noah beside her. Noah held a paper bag from a burger place. Lily held 2 milkshakes. "You survived rich people training?" Noah asked. "Barely." Lily handed me a milkshake. "Chocolate. You look like you need it." I stared at the cup. "What?" she asked. "Nothing. Just wondering why normal food keeps appearing when I'm emotionally unstable." Noah nodded seriously. "That's America, bro." We ate on the steps while traffic moved past and the laundromat hummed behind us. Noah talked too much. Lily laughed at him. Mr. Parker came out pretending to check the mail, then stole fries from the bag. For a few minutes, nobody needed saving. That was new, dangerous, and annoyingly easy to like. After Noah left, Lily sat beside me on the step and looked at my bandaged hand. "Did you fight again? Training? With who? Professionals? Did they win?" I took a sip of the milkshake. She sighed. "Aiden. They learned." She shook her head, but she was smiling. Her smile softened into something quieter. "Thank you," she said. "For what? For coming back?" I didn't know what to do with that. Nobody had ever thanked me for coming back. Usually people thanked me for leaving before the bodies became paperwork. The street blurred under the apartment lights. "I'm trying," I said. "I know, that should have been the ending of the day." A clean little moment on dirty concrete. Burger grease, melted milkshake. A girl who wasn't afraid of me right then. A dead friend's wish sitting in my chest like maybe I hadn't wasted it. My phone rang. "Major Reyes." My stomach went cold before I answered. Reyes spoke fast. "Tell me you didn't let anyone record you fighting." I stood. Lily looked up at me. "What happened?" I asked. Reyes cursed. "Veyron ran your training footage through a private threat database. Routine security review. Someone overseas flagged the movement pattern." My hand tightened around the phone. "Who?" Reyes went silent for half a second. That half second told me everything. I walked away from the steps so Lily couldn't hear, but she stood too. Reyes said, "Directorate 9. The street noise faded. For a second, I was back in snow. Misha's blood on my gloves, fire behind me, his voice telling me to run. I forced air into my lungs. What did they see? Enough! Do they have my name? Not yet, but they know Zero's combat pattern just appeared in America. Behind me, Lily whispered. Aiden? I turned. She was standing under the apartment light, milkshake forgotten in her hand, looking at my face like she already knew the world had changed again. Reyes said the words I had spent 2 years burying. They know you're alive! Behind her were the warm building, the cheap burger bag on the step, Mr. Parker's stolen fries, and the stupid, fragile, impossible normal life Misha had died to give me. Reyes reloaded a weapon on the other end of the call. Zero, he said, voice low. If they come for you, they won't just come for you. Lily took 1 step toward me. I stepped back. That hurt her. I saw it. I hated myself for it. But the old door was open now, and something from Russia had started walking through.